Welcome in, belly up, have a seat, and grab a drink as we talk some Wingman Fantasy Football. Welcome into another edition of Wingman Fantasy Football, the League Podcast. I'm your host, Michael Furley, and as always, I'd like to thank all of you, or any of you who may be watching or listening to today's show. This is episode 60, and we are at the bar with Jimmerson, aka RedSox Nation. But before we get any further along, let's make sure that everybody is in the room.
Wingmen assemble!
All right, everybody. Now that we have survived the Week 7 bye apocalypse, it is fair to say that there are no teams on bye this week, so let's get into the schedule for this weekend's games. All right, on Monday night this week, we have the Las Vegas Raiders traveling to the Motor City to take on the Detroit Lions at 8:15 p.m. On Sunday night, we have the Bears of Chicago taking on L.A., the Chargers in Los Angeles at 8:20 p.m., and for this Thursday night, we had the Tampa Bay Buccaneers traveling to Orchard Park to take on the Buffalo Bills. And we had 7 players in our manager's lineups tonight. And they took our jobs' lineup. He had the Tampa Bay defense going on Thursday night. And King George had the Buffalo defense playing in her lineup. And Kubert's Rage had 5 players playing in his lineup on Thursday night. He is going to be either ecstatic or feeling sick for a very long time, as he's going to have to sit with these Thursday night scores for a good 4 days. In his lineup, he had 3 Bills and 2 Bucks. Paul had Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, Mike Evans, Rashad White, and Tyler Bass. All right, as for other player news and notes. All right, we have Arizona quarterback Kyler Murray has been practicing in full this week. He is still technically on the PUP list, but he should be ready to go once he's activated from that list. So within the next 2 weeks, he should be back on the field. Raheem Mostert and Tyreek Hill return to practice on Thursday, albeit in a limited capacity, and they should be good to go this Sunday against the Patriots. We also have a pair of Seahawks who will still have yet to practice this week, as Kenneth Walker, Texas Ranger, and Tyler Lockett have been missing practice all week, and it may be a good idea to keep an eye on their status as we get closer to Sunday. However, DK Metcalf did return to practice in full, and he should be able to play this week. We have David Montgomery has yet to practice, and Detroit plays on Monday night, so that's going to be a little tricky for Paul if he decides to play him. And with their bye week coming up in Week 10, my guess is that he won't suit up until after the bye week, making way for Jahmyr Gibbs to dominate the backfield once again for Lion Eyes. In New York, the Dalvin Cook is growing more and more frustrated, and he may seek a trade from the Jets ahead of the Halloween trade deadline. Jimmy Garoppolo returned to practice, and he may make his return this Monday night against the Lions. And Christian McCaffrey is off the injury report and has been practicing in full. Steelers wide receiver Deontay Johnson was added to the injury list during this week, and he missed Thursday's practice. And Jalen Hurts is not on the injury list at all and is expected to be fine for this week. We have Deebo Samuel for the 49ers has been missing practice all week and has already been ruled out for this Sunday. Brock Purdy, also of the 49ers, is in the concussion protocol, but he did practice in a limited fashion on Thursday, which is the first step necessary to clear the concussion protocol in time for Sunday's game. I'm not sure if he's going to make it, but he's trending in the right direction at least. Josh Palmer, Chargers receiver, has been added to the injury list during the practice week, and his status is now up in the air. And despite tweaking his ankle on Sunday, Austin Eckler is not on the injury report at all, has been practicing in full, and should be able to play this week. And Jerome Ford has been out of practice and is unlikely to play this week. All right, let's find out who's playing who in this week's matchups.
I want you! I want the stallion! Ready, down! Put!
This week's matchups.
All right, in this week's matchups, we have Michael's Amazing Spidey at 5-2 and atop of the even division is playing against Ken's Tampa Brady at 3-4. So this is a divisional matchup and a huge game for Tampa Brady. Also, we have Jimmerson's Red Sox Nation at 4-3 up against the number 1 seed, Katie's King George, and this too is a monster divisional matchup. And Katie's King George is at 6-1. We also have Alex's They Took Our Jobs at 4-3 up against 2-5 Corey's Mac Daddy 2s, and Paul's Cubert Rage at 5-2 is up against Reggie's Lionize at 2-5 and looking for his 3rd straight victory. Also at the bottom of the basement, we have Nick's Waddle Away at 2-5 up against Bernie's Team B, also at 2-5.
I'm Cuban B. Yes, Cuban B.
All right, guys, let's check in on our waiver wire. We had 6 waiver claims this week, with 2 NFL players receiving multiple bids. Our top prized waiver pickup this week was Deontay Foreman, who went to Team B for $20, and there was no other bids. So that was he wanted to make sure he got him, but he could have got him for a lot less than that. Darren Waller went to $5, also to Team B, and there were no other bids on Darren Waller. Dustin Hopkins, kicker for the Cleveland Browns, went to Lionize for $3, and there was a competing bid as Team B put in a $1 bid for Dustin Hopkins. Team B loves spending money on Cleveland kickers. Gardner Minshew for $3 went to Team B, and he outbid Lionize, who put in a $2 bid, as both these teams need help at the quarterback position. And the Detroit defense went to Team B for $1, while Joe Reed, a Los Angeles Chargers wide receiver who's just an IR placeholder, went to Amazing Spidey for $0. The interesting thing here is that Team B had yet to spend any of his fab, and he picked up, 4 players and bid on 5 this week. So he is now breaking open the wallet, and he will now use the rest of his money going forward. All right, let's check in on our segment called Power Rankings.
I have the power!
By the power of RedSox.
I'm living in it, no one man should have all that power.
Wingman Power Rankings.
All right, so let's check in on our updated power rankings through going into week 8. We have They Took Our Jobs is now at the top of the power rankings, getting ahead of Spidey, who's dropped down to number 2. Red Sox Nation has been bouncing up and down, but he's currently at the 3rd position, while King George is in 4th. Tampa Brady is holding strong at 5, while Cubert's Rage, despite the huge scoring game last week, has now dropped to 6. Mac Daddy 2s is at 7th, while Lionize, Team B, and Waddle Away round out the last 3. Remember that the power rankings is just a list of your projected points going forward from this point out, and they kind of set your optimal lineup for you in that regard. So that's just what that is. All right, so it is my pleasure to welcome in our guest who will join me at the bar tonight. We have Jimmerson, a.k.a. Red Sox Nation. How you doing tonight, Mr. Jimmerson?
AKA back-to-back champion.
Oh, that's right. Back
Well.
to my Very well. Take your bow, my friend. All right. So I'm going to ask you, what are you drinking this evening?
Oh, tonight I have a small batch 10-year-old rye called Whistle Pig.
Nice.
Very good
nice.
stuff.
Very good. Very good. All right. So I was looking over your schedule today, and I know you started off hot 3-0. You're kind of treading water since then. But I've noticed all your wins are against our bottom 4 teams who have Team B, for example, and Mac Daddy 2s and Lionize, all the teams that have 2 wins. That's where you've got all your wins so far, and all your tougher matchups. Paul, myself, you have losses against, and then you got King George next week, which is no easy battle.
No, it's not. I mean, at this point, you can call me the Miami Dolphins, right?
Yeah.
I only beat the bad teams and barely show up for the good ones. No, it's been rough. I haven't had my quarterback that I drafted in the 4th or 5th round. He's been terrible. Obviously was hurt in preseason, so didn't really recover. And I've been running with Jordan Love, and I've been dying to get rid of him out of there, but there's no one to pick up on the waiver wire there, and I just haven't had the confidence. So I got him in the lineup this week. I just said the hell with it. Even though they're playing San Francisco, I'm ready to run with it. Let's have a good game there, Joe.
Well, I'm shopping around Kyler Murray like crazy. So if you ever feel like you need to get
An
away from
Arizona
Joe Burrow,
Cardinal.
That's tough. I know. I'm just telling you, if you get desperate after 1 or 2 more weeks of Joe Burrow not meeting the standards here, there's always a nice backup plan on my team, and I could take one of your receivers off your hands, no problem.
Oh, well, yeah, that's so. I am looking, right. I did send a trade out, got rejected earlier, but I definitely am deep at the receivers. So maybe we can make a deal coming up. Never know.
I'm even willing to. I've got a couple trades out there that I don't think they've been seen or whatever, but I'm willing to. Not that it's a great deal, but I was willing to part with Damian Pierce, and I'm thinking if anyone wants him, this would be the week to have him as they're going against Carolina. So I'm trying to get his value ahead, and our guys are too savvy to trade him after a good game. You got to trade him going into a potentially good game, kind of thing. So he's out there for a potential trade bait as well.
Maybe buy low. You never know. He could have a great game, and then next thing you know, your value goes up there, and you're gonna have to up that trade game there.
I'm good either way because I'm only trading him for positions of need, and if no one wants him, then he might just get. He's either gonna be worth cutting later, and it doesn't matter, or he's gonna be better, and I can wait a better trade later in the season.
Listen, that Houston offense is coming around. You never know. CJ Stroud is whoever has him. I forget who has him, but it was a good pickup.
It was Katie.
Well.
But I don't know if she still has him because he had the bye. So I don't know if she I think he's available. I think he got dropped, but I'm not positive. I know he was picked up by Katie.
But she has Lamar. She has Lamar, so
yeah,
she's going to play Lamar this week. I would. I mean, they're playing Arizona, so
yeah, Arizona is good for points.
Yeah, exactly.
So, all right. So what else you got going on? So I've also noticed you've been at least for the last 10 days or so, you've been picking up all the running backs that are the backups to my starters. Is there a particular strategy there? You hunting my guys down? What's going on?
Yeah, I've got your notes sitting over here. I'm using it as a cheat sheet. Look, my strategy from the get-go was to load up on receiver, find at least one decent running back. I think I did that with Breece Hall. He's coming into form, and there's always some running back out there you pick up
sure.
waiver wire. So I go fishing there. But yeah, Kieran Williams is now on the IR, so I'm back to fishing. I spent too much money on Elijah Mitchell last week. Here I thought McCaffrey was hurt. Mitchell was the backup, and then McCaffrey ends up playing the entire game anyway. So what a waste of $18 there. But yeah, just gonna take some chances and see what sticks. I mean, Mostert's got an ankle injury right now. Achane is out, so you never know what can happen with Jeff Wilson.
Sure. The Dolphins offense, you kind of want any piece you can get, no matter what level of player it is. Yep,
exactly.
Yep.
Well, I've got the main showpiece. I've got Tyreek.
Oh yeah, he's been great.
Right? He's been awesome. Hopefully, he should play this weekend. That's what they're saying. So keep an eye on that. But yeah, he's a no-brainer. Just leave him in there the rest of, even on a bye week if I happen to leave him. Like, who cares?
I'm always nervous watching him because he's such a quick twitch guy. I feel like I see a cramp every other run, and he seems to handle it. But I'm nervous every time I watch him go. I'm like, don't do a backflip. What are you doing?
Yeah, no, something stupid, right?
Yeah, right. It said, the last thing I saw, it said that he was planning on playing, and I know he's going for that 2,000 yard mark if he can get it. So he's not going to miss it. Misses a game that kind of takes that out of play.
I mean, if he's going to miss a game, he probably would miss this week because there's no way he's missing the Kansas City game.
Well, that one's in Germany, so that's gonna be a tough game for them just because of the travel.
Yeah, it will be. But I mean, that's a revenge game for him, right? He wants to show up and play for that game. So I don't know who's playing me next week. But
did the Dolphins not play Kansas City last year? They didn't play them last year.
They didn't play him last year.
Oh wow, yeah, okay, yeah, he'll be primed and ready to go for that.
Yeah, I figured that might even have been the opening Thursday night game, right? Tyreek Hill returns to Kansas City.
Mm-hmm.
Kansas City just won the Super Bowl, but nope. I don't blame him because we probably would have got, we're the Dolphins, so we lose to all the good teams and beat all the crap teams.
Well, hopefully they show up this week against the Patriots. That one seems like a trap game. Like I'm a little nervous for this one.
Yeah. Yeah, and then the other, I'm going back to my roster here. Devontae Adams he's one of those guys you got to keep in there.
Yeah,
but it's just hard because that Las Vegas offense is it's iffy, especially with the quarterback situation. So,
did I see? I thought I saw Garoppolo practice today, so hopefully he'll be back. But I'm not sure.
I think he's coming back soon, but either way, it's Garoppolo. So
yeah, right. He seems to have a much better connection with Jacoby Myers. He's been peppering him really nicely all year long.
Yeah, No, when they're all healthy and in there, Adams gets his targets, but they've got some injuries, and then obviously with Garoppolo out, you got O'Connell and some other Hoyer.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So again, looking at your schedule, you're playing against the number one team, the dominating Miss King George, Katie. She's doing awesome this year once again.
She is 6-1. It's interesting though. If even though I've won 4 games, I've also given up the second most points too.
Yeah,
by far, right? I mean, only Reggie with
Reggie
his team.
For a while there. Reggie had more points given up than the best point scorer, best team.
Yeah. So I will say at least my team is putting up points, because to get 4 wins after you give up the second most amount of points is to say something.
Yeah.
Last week I had against Paul, which that was one I definitely wanted to win against Paul, but a lot of bye weeks, right?
That's right.
I had a bunch of guys on bye. I started Elijah Mitchell, I think, or maybe I forget who I started. I did, yeah. I think he had a donut. So
he did. He had the goose.
Yep, another goose for me. That's 2, I think.
Yep.
But yeah, we'll see. Hopefully I can knock off the number one team. Kind of catch. I'll still be a game behind, but it's an important game to catch up on.
Well, division game too, especially this year. They only have 4 division games, so if you can catch her in a tie and have that tiebreaker, that's going to be a big deal later.
Oh, definitely. And I'm
That's how she got you last. That's how she got one of the payouts last year. She had the tiebreaker.
Yeah, tiebreaker, exactly. I just want to be competitive with her. She's got and she doesn't even have Jefferson. I'm hitting her at the good time, right? Jefferson's on the IR, so hopefully I can.
Well, her scores have been up and down, but she gets the perfect score against her opponent. She's getting 89 points against the 75-point team. She's getting 110 points against the 103-point team. She's always matching up just perfectly with her outputs.
Well, it's pretty simple for me. If I score 100 points, I win. If I don't score 100 points, I lose.
We've had a lot of low scores overall, but there's been a few major spikes. But there's one team that's getting 120 points, and everyone else is getting 99 or less.
I think you put up the high for the season against me. You put up that 170 spot that one game.
That was fun.
Mostert had like 5 touchdowns that game.
Yeah, they just. Yeah, I kept my phone was blowing up all day with alerts and pops. I was like, "This is just okay. This is fun."
Yeah, no, it was awesome. It wasn't awesome for me, but
right. Well, it's almost like at that point you just have to like laugh out loud. You're like, whatever.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I knew it as soon as I saw. I think you had 250 burgers that game. Someone else had 50, and I was like, okay, this is just like I can just laugh now because there's no point even worrying about anything.
All right, my man. Well, I appreciate you coming by. I know it was last minute. I know you have a tough schedule the next couple of weeks, but I wish you major good luck, and you're right where you need to be, right in striking distance. You're in good shape. You'll be all right.
Yeah. No, I got a rematch next week with you.
Yeah. Yep.
So with the I'm going to come after you, try to put up the 170 back, try to get it out. But
I'm pretty sure that's one of my major bye weeks. I think my projected is like 85 points before we start. So that's
perfect. Good strategy. You know what? Take all your buys in 1 week. You lose a game, but who cares? You got the rest of the year.
I don't disagree. All right, man. Thank you very much. I appreciate it, and we'll check you next time. Okay.
All right, Mike. Thanks.
All right. Thank you. All right, everybody. I'd like to thank Mr. Jimmerson for coming on by tonight. Big thanks to him as a last-minute guest, and of course, he helped me out big time. So with that being said, you guys can check us out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and TuneIn Radio. Check us out on wingmanentertainment.net/WFF. I'm getting ready to add a new feature on the game day page, a new tool that will help you on your Sunday mornings. So with that being said, may your glasses be full, your mugs stay frosty, and we will see you next time.